Right here is where the notch is where it's going to go. And the way that you limit how far this saw comes down is right back here. Here's a little knob and this little dial right here, and then you can limit it how far it goes down for a notch. And here's a stop right here. So I want the notch to be about 1/2 inch. Measure this 1/2 inch. Now we'll see if that works. Try it. Try it on a scrap piece. Right, got a scrap piece up here. Right. It makes somewhat of an imperfect notch, but it's good enough. Now I'll measure it. The notch I made is about 3/8. So now I want it to go deeper, so I need to run the screw up this way higher. All right, it has a little lock knob on it. All right, now we'll try it again. Okay, the notch is about 5/8, so that's good enough. All right, so now we have to bring up our piece. Here's the notch, I got it marked. So you bring it to where your saw is. Follow your mark. Keep moving it over to the right. There you go. That's how you make a notch. Okay, so we take this, put it up here where it's supposed to go, put it even to that little piece that was there. Might have to move the camera a little bit. And then see if it's going to be okay. And I made the notch a little bit extra wide so that it will clear this area. So there's the notch, and that's how you make it. Okay, I thought this one would be the same, but it's not. It's going to clear. It's going to be okay. So I won't have to notch this one. The whole structure is not going to be perfect as far as being for the center of this whole structure to be congruent with the trailer structure as far as lining up the two centers. I made a whole bunch of approximately 2 1/4 inch pieces, and I want them to all be at least 45. This one here in front, for instance, is about 47. So that's about right. And you're going to have scrap no matter what, so you got to plan on that also. All right, I have to subtract 5/8 of an inch for the board that's going to go back here, because the board that's already on there, that's going to go right here. And then this one is going to be 16 inches from the center of this end to the center of this board right here. So I got to subtract 5/8, and then the middle of it would be 5/16. Mark that. All right, and then from the middle of this end board that's going to go right here, I've got to come out 16 inches. Usually on most tapes, it's marked in red or some other bright color. Right? So then I'm going to place this right there. And I want to also have the surface of this be the same height as this right here. So I'll have to hold it up, drill it, and screw it. I'm going to use 2-inch screws. So now, since I made this mark, this is going to be the center of where this board is going to be at. Measure that. So it's actually 16 5/16. Measure on this side, 16 5/16. Now, if you want to waste your time and use a square for all this, that's fine, that's up to you. For me, I don't need to do that. I just do it by eye, make it reasonable. Might have to take some of the wood that's left over in the flutes of the drill, take it out of there. One of the problems that I found was I went and bought screws at Lowe's, and without too much forethought, I bought some 2-inch screws that have Torx heads, but they're T20 instead of T25. That's why it's good to buy your screws at one place, because otherwise you're going to have 2 different bits and it's hard to switch back and forth. I put a little wax on them. Drive them in. Okay, just hold it reasonably square and then drill your hole. If you want to use nails, that's up to you, but for me, this is going to be a trailer. It's going to be pulled behind my truck. And I don't want it to come apart while I'm driving, so that's why I'm using screws instead of nails. You have to square one end. Either lay it down like this or up like this. Either way works. And that little piece, I got a wheelbarrow full of scrap. 45 and an eighth. And I'm going to also make this one a pattern, and then I'll mark all my other boards off of this pattern. You don't need to square it because you got to make sure that your saw is cutting square. And just to make sure that your saw is cutting square, take your square, check one end. Make sure all of the fuzz is off the end of it. And it looks really good. So now we're going to cut this one 45 and an eighth. I just chose random boards, so I got a piece here that's left over, and it's about 30 inches. 31. So what I'm going to do here is, if I have any other short pieces, which I am going to have, I'm going to take this, put a scab piece in here, between here and the next board, and then make the board longer. So now this is my pattern for all the boards. And keep the scrap because you're going to need it. Now I made a simple saw station. This particular saw has extensions on it right here. I got one over here on this side. So lock them down, all right, and then I put one screw back here and one screw over here, and that keeps this in one position, and I also have it centered on this whole board. And then I got a barrel underneath of it, and another thing is that I got the ends specially prepared. I took a small piece of approximately 1 by 1 and about 5 inches or so, And then I took this board right here and I made it the same height as this bar right here. And as the same height as this right here, this surface. And so I put these two together. This is screwed down this way with screws, and then this is screwed right here. Same on the other end. It's very simple. You can make it bigger, or I just had a scrap piece and that's what I came up with. Also, I took my pattern, I put an X on it right here. Take one of the leftover pieces, put it up here, square one end. Throw your scrap over in the scrap pile. Take it, cut a piece, don't measure it, about 3 or 4 inches, maybe 5. This one might be about 6. About like that. Okay, now I have a piece that I need to square one end. One end is already square. I want to square this end. Scrap, put it aside, take this, put it on top of here. Okay, now center it so that you have half of it hanging over here and half of it on the good board. Alright, now take one of your pieces that was already squared, this one right here, approximately the same thickness in this case. Okay, make sure that both ends are square. Right here. Alright, now I'm going to drill it and then put your screws in part way. Don't screw it down all the way. You got to put 2 screws in, either one right here and right here, or you can put them like right here and right here. I want them this way, in this alignment here. Okay. I'm going to use 1 5/8 inch screws, and you can measure on your 2 parts to see where that's going to end up. Okay, the end of it is going to end up down in here somewhere. Okay, make sure that it is flush with this surface and this surface right here. Alright, now get this surface here flush and this surface right here. Make sure it looks reasonably square and everything. You might have to get on the end and sight down it to see that the two are in alignment. Okay, drill these 2 holes now. Feel with your fingers to see that they are flush. Okay, there you go. Now you got a board ready to go. Okay, now saw. Make sure all the scraps are off of this table so that it doesn't throw your measurements off and make it unsquare. Just test it a little bit. All right, well, we have this frame that I built, and this is going to go on the trailer here. And the 2 back portions, which are back over that way, this area, and there's another one over here, that is going to fit on this area. It's going to be the first stud, or actually floor joist. Okay, now this is basically how it's going to go. This frame, I checked it right here. I checked it right here to see if it was square, and it is relatively square. Relatively square, and there are going to be connection points, for instance, that are going to be used like this. There's going to be something that goes down to this steel part here, and then there's going to be a piece put in like this, and I'm going to drill holes in those pieces. I may put them like right here so that I can reach underneath and put scrap pieces under there that are going to be where the screws drive into. So something like that. And there's going to be pieces all over this whole thing. I found out also that this area here, this area right here, it's pretty well centered between these 2 I-beams, this one and that one, and it's going to work quite well. Another thing I found out is that there's quite a gap right here, about an inch gap. So I'm going to have to fill in that with wood. So all in all, it's going to work out just fine. Now I'm only going to put in a couple of screws for now, until we get this whole thing figured out. Sometimes there's something wrong with the screw. You got to be aware of that. Okay, when you're trying to level this, work on one side at a time. Don't try to level the whole thing at once. Just get one side, because that side over there will be flexible enough that I can level it separately. And that's what I am going to do. Just lay this up there, mark it on the back. Hey, all this is this is just holding it onto the trailer. That's all it is. So I'm going to make it actually, where the mark is right here, I'm going to make it actually a 1/16 of an inch lower, and it'll work.